up, everybody? This is your boy, Teran Rodriguez, host of Set Point here on OATIIZ Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that sports. We have ourselves another one-on-one interview with an NCAA men's volleyball team that is in the tournament. And here with me, we have Belmont Abbey's men's volleyball coach, Derek Sullivan. How are you doing, Derek?
Oh, I'm doing well. It's been a good day of practice. I'm ready for next week.
That is great to hear. Without any further delay, let's get started. So your team wound up winning the Conference of Carolinas tournament, probably one of the more underrated conferences out there. How big was that beating the likes of North Greenville in the championship match?
It felt really good. For the past, let's say 3 or 4 years, I think North Greenville has been top of the conference, and especially when they won in 2022, and then they won the first round against Princeton. I think they kind of set the precedent that year, and they've been strong ever since. So it just feels really good to know that all the hard work has been paying off.
Now, who have been some of your standouts for this season, and who have been some of your unsung heroes that don't really get some spotlight but kind of deserve it?
Yeah. Some of our, I guess, main guys or heroes that you could say. Um, that's a tough one. I'll be honest. I really think I have a team of, 5 or 6 guys that are really making a difference. And any game, somebody is shining and playing really well. Like the semifinal match against Mount Olive, Jibriel El Haddad, one of our middles. He's been top in the country all year in blocks per set. He came alive and we were down 4, and I think he had 2 or 3 blocks or points to tie it back up, and then he went back to serve and we got another block from another middle, so we've had multiple different people shine. I think the most obvious is probably Matthew Staskunis, getting player of the year, really working hard to get that award, not just that award but really working hard for the team, and he ended up getting that award. Another guy, Zach Puentes, who's come in and he's just been our vocal leader in practice and on the court. Matthew Staskunis, he might get a lot of points, but Zach has really been leading us so far.
And then looking at this matchup against Long Beach State, obviously they are the host team, but how excited are you all for this matchup and to basically come to Southern California?
So we're pretty excited to get to Southern California. We have quite a few guys from the West Coast. We have Colin, we have a bunch of freshmen, Aiden, Evan Ford is a sophomore. We have another guy from Hawaii. So they're all from there and they get to get out there and hopefully get to see their family. But some other guys have never been out to the West Coast, and they get to play some of the top dogs. As far as the tournament goes, we're really excited to represent the conference. The conference in the last 5-6 years has really been growing. We've already talked about North Greenville taking that match in the first round against Princeton, and I think it's really showed how far the conference has come. The top schools in our conference are competing against schools in more of the Division I conference. So I think it's just a really good opportunity for us to go out and show what we've got.
And that's actually a perfect segue to talk about this next topic, the whole Conference Carolinas as a whole. Talk about how it is a very underrated conference and how people kind of need to, I wouldn't say brush up on it, but they need to know what the Conference of Carolinas is all about.
Yeah. I think we're recruiting from all over the country. A lot of the top teams are competing with recruits that are going to other, quote unquote, bigger schools. And then we have some pretty young coaches that are doing a really good job in this conference. They're really training some guys and they're instilling a lot of confidence. So when we're going out to play, all of us, we're competing and we're getting some good wins and we're picking up some good teams to play. I think I would love to talk about us and how well we've been doing, but I really think what we've been doing is because of the other work of the coaches in our conference. It's paying off.
Now, talking about coaches, you, if I recall correctly, were an assistant coach for Belmont Abbey, and then you pretty much took over the reins. What was that journey like, and how did you find your way to Belmont Abbey?
Yeah, so I found my way there. I played at Belmont Abbey. I was one of the first recruits there back in 2012. I had some good playing time while I was here. I really learned a lot. I went overseas to play in England a little bit. Didn't quite want to get back into coaching and volleyball at first. I was trying to, pursue a job in my major. But I really missed volleyball. So I started getting in the coaching club. My wife was coaching at University of Tennessee at the time. And so then I was coaching club while she was coaching there. And then I got a volunteer position at William and Mary. I learned a lot under the head coach at the time was Tim Doyle, who's now at VCU. And then there was an opening at Belmont Abbey, and Nolan called me, who was the coach at the time. He's one of my really good friends, and I think I was the first assistant coach in Conference Carolina's history. I think at the time, all the head coaches were helping split and work with the women's team, so there weren't too many full-time assistant coaches. So I'm pretty sure I was the first one, and I think it paid off because then a year later we were able to get a ring in 2021 when I was an assistant there. So I think it is a testament to just having coaches have a backup and have some help, and also having the game grow to where schools are getting assistant coaches. But anyway, my transition was really interesting, from an assistant to head coach, because you don't really realize everything that the head coach does. There's a lot of time in the shadows that they spend on their phone talking with admin and doing paperwork, and you don't really see all that. And just the vision that head coaches have in putting into their program, it just takes time. And so that's why I think this win this year, getting the ring, winning conference, has been really fulfilling. Just knowing that what we're doing here seems to be right, and I think we're on the right path, and we've built something really cool. We have a lot of really young guys. I'm hungry. The team is hungry. My assistant coach is hungry, and so we're just ready to continue down this path and see what happens in the future.
Now, talking about your assistant coaches, give them a little spotlight and tell us who they are and how they've impacted this program and how they've helped take the weight off your shoulders in terms of coaching.
Oh yeah. So my assistant coach, his name is Peter Stewart. He was at Belmont Abbey for a little while I was here, and then he ended up at Florida State, and he was helping out with the Florida State women's program down there. So obviously, a successful school in the ACC for women's volleyball in the past couple of years, women's and women's beach. So he was able to be in a championship style gym around a really good head coach at the time, and he was able to really learn a lot. And so he was able to come to Belmont Abbey, and he's brought a lot of knowledge and like wisdom into our gym. He's really good with his relationship styles with the team. He keeps the guys focused. He has some good ideas on where we should be or what we should be doing. He has a good feel for how the guys are feeling. So there are a lot of things that that Peter does that a lot of people don't see. And so, kudos to him, because he's come in here and made a huge impact.
Now, something I know about you, and I don't think most people know about you, is that you also, I think, played in the NVA. You played for the Florida Southern Exposure under head coach Kyle Steele, who is the head coach of Ottawa, Arizona. Did he have some of a coaching influence on you, as well as the owner of the Exposure?
Yeah, I was able to learn a lot while I was playing there. So I started off playing at Southern Exposure. I was able to learn a lot. I was able to talk with all those guys just about their different experiences from around the world and around the country. And I had a really great time just listening and just gaining some knowledge from all of them. And then, I ended up playing for Team Freedom for, I think, 2 years as well. And Carlo from Team Freedom, he also won, I think he won Coach of the Year up there in New Jersey City College. So also another really good coach, somebody that really knows what he's doing, with a lot of really good players that have been on the All-American list on the D3 side, some guys that have played for Penn State. So I've just been soaking in everything that I can from anybody and just taking little bits of knowledge here and there and just trying to apply it to my own team.
Oh yeah, I totally blanked on that one. You were a part of the New Jersey Freedom, and yes, Carlo Edra was named New Jersey City, the coach of the year for New Jersey City College and whatnot.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
how was it playing for the New Jersey Freedom, and what did you learn when playing for the Freedom?
I learned that a really tight knit group of guys can take you really far. Because if you don't know much about Team Freedom, a lot of the guys there are D3 players from up in the Northeast. And if you're not a men's volleyball guru, you might not know a lot about D3. But some of the schools up in that area are you know they could compete in NCAA D1 and D2. Really good players, really good programs with a lot of rich history. And so coming into that team, they're all really tight. They all played for a long time together at those D3 schools. And they're competing against teams out in California that have all Americans that have played at UCLA and Long Beach. And Team Freedom has been, one of the top teams in the past couple of years with those guys. So I was able to learn that just playing for each other and just having some fun can take you really far.
Now, something I would like to know about you is how did you first get into volleyball, and what is basically the start of your volleyball journey?
Um, my high school head coach lived next door to me in high school, and I was a basketball player. So when I moved into this neighborhood, right at the beginning of my high school career, he saw me shooting hoops and just was walking his dog and asked if I wanted to try out. And I kept saying, no, no, I don't want to try. I'm okay. I'm just going to play basketball. And so I'm from Virginia, and volleyball is not very big there, at least at the time. It's grown a lot. But it's a basketball area, baseball area. So volleyball is just strange. But he kept asking me. He said it'd be great conditioning for basketball. Just come and jump a lot. You'll be fine. So I ended up trying out, and I ended up making the JV team. And then from there, I learned about travel volleyball and club volleyball and nationals and AU and all that stuff. And so then I started traveling. And then within a year, I made the varsity team. And I think just from there, history just kind of speaks for itself. I just really excelled and had a lot of fun with that. And then I'm really glad I made that decision because it led me to this point today.
Teran Rodriguez here of OATIIZ Sports Radio, host of Set Point with Derek Sullivan, head coach of Belmont Abbey men's volleyball. All right, Derek, what were some of your favorite memories back with Belmont Abbey as a player? Because I know you're going to continue to make more memories as a head coach.
Oh man, that's the best memories as a player. I think playing my freshman year overall is a really cool experience. Starting the program, being one of the first recruits. Looking back, there were a lot of things that I learned that I didn't realize I was learning. Just how to be a leader. Everyone's 18 years old, 17 years old, trying to play against some established teams already. So I think just my freshman year overall, learning to set at that level consistently isn't really just about physicality, but it's about IQ as well. So I think that whole experience is definitely a really good memory. Overall, a lot of those guys that I played with for those 4 years are still some of my best friends. I've been into a lot of their weddings. They've been in my weddings. I really think that's what college is all about. Especially men's volleyball. It's so small. There's not always a place to go to play afterwards. So those group of guys that you create bonds with will last a long time. And so that was definitely some of my favorite memories.
Now, one player that I kind of noticed is from like a big volleyball area is Clay Zimmerman, and how I think he's the younger brother of, I think, Jayla Zimmerman, who played for
Yeah.
Talk
Yeah.
about Clay Zimmerman and the impact that he makes when it comes to this team.
Clay is he's a leader. He's seen volleyball his whole life. He's obviously seen high level volleyball from his sister Jayla. She's been around the gym a couple times to come visit. Um, and that whole family has been super supportive and great, and they just understand the sport and the atmosphere. But Clay he's one of the guys that's super vocal on the team, especially these past 2 years, because he's technically won 2 rings. Well, I shouldn't say technically, he has won 2 rings as a student athlete here. One his freshman year, and now he's closing out another year going back to the NCAA tournament. So throughout the year, he was really talking about what needs to happen, what it looks like. He was talking about what you have to do off the court and on the court. So he really led the team vocally this year.
Awesome. And just to clarify, Clay Zimmerman and the Zimmerman family are from Nebraska. So for those that are wondering, volleyball land is Nebraska is that volleyball land. It's big on volleyball. All right.
Yeah.
But other than that, a couple more questions, then I'll let you go, Derek.
All right.
So this is a fill in the blank question. Belmont Abbey wins the national championship if they blank.
It's going to be if we pass well and serve well.
The biggest MO of men's volleyball. Oh, you love it.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And then last thing, and then I'll let you go for the day. Obviously, getting better means you improving. And if you get 1% better, then you're definitely improving. How could I, as well as everyone else in the world, make NCAA men's volleyball at least 1% better? And that could also go for like men's volleyball and the NVA and all sorts of boys volleyball around the world.
How can we get 1% better? I think men's volleyball as a whole, my personal opinion, I just think we could keep coming together and supporting one another. We have the VLA, we have the NBA. All the players know each other, but they're 2 different leagues. At times, I think we should be able to play with each other a little bit more. Same with club. Like there's USAV and there's AAU. We're competing against each other all the times with these different national tournaments. I understand it's a money thing, but we're all trying to grow the game. Everyone involved on the lower level, they're just trying to get better and to grow. So it gets really difficult when people have their different plans and they're just not working with one another. But when it comes down to it, men's volleyball is a really cool culture, has a really cool atmosphere. We all know each other. We're at least one connection away from somebody on the Olympic team. That's pretty much how small it is. I don't think other sports can really say that. So I would say if you want to get 1% better, just keep supporting one another. Make sure we're going out to this NCAA tournament. That's a really good way to start. It's been really cool having different interviews with you off the block, other blogs going on and growing. I just think that kind of exposure is really helping men's volleyball.
Well, that is quite amazing and an amazing response right there. And I myself will definitely do my part to help grow NCAA men's volleyball and the NVA and all sorts of men's and boys volleyball. Mm-hmm. Are there any other shout outs or thank yous you want to give out to before we head on out?
Oh, man. Yeah, I think a lot. I'm very grateful to the people that have got me to this point. Even there are some people who text me congratulations for, I received Coach of the Year this year. There are some people where like I almost have done what they did in the past and then applied it, and so I'm really grateful to a lot of the people that have helped me get here, gone from family to other coaches I've worked for, to coaches at Belmont Abbey, to friends that I know that are coaches. All my knowledge didn't just come from me, it's come from everyone around me. So going back to how small men's volleyball is, that's how we make each other better, is by learning from each other. So I just thank the whole volleyball community. I think it's been great to receive all this support.
And there it is, everybody. Derek, listen, thank you for your time. It is much appreciated connecting with you and letting me interview you. And I hope to see you soon. He's Derek Sullivan. I'm Teran Rodriguez, and this is another one-on-one men's volleyball interview with an NCAA tournament representative. Take care, everybody.
All right. Thank you. Thanks for having me on.